Assalamu alaikum. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. As mentioned in the Arabic and for the English, give you the greetings of peace and paradise. And when we speak of peace, internal peace, not only for yourself and the environment you live in, but the peace for others, because it takes cooperation. And the only way we could get that is through being thankful for what we have. Henceforth, the second part, when we say, La ilaha illallah, that there is no God but the one God, the God of all of us, whatever our denomination or declaration of faith is, what we hold in the highest esteem that has purity, is not integrated with our selfish desire, but is clean and pure as we read and study it in the Quran. Because in the Quran, the book in the last revelation, it said there is nothing like unto Allah. So the purest of things shows that it doesn't have any other element or anything in it that distracts from it or takes from it the purity of it. So today, with Allah's help, when we say inshallah, being Allah's will, we like to, and for the first part of the khutbah of the Jummah, is to continue giving a kind of definition to not only the Muslim audience, but whoever is listening, so that they can understand the purpose of the Jummah and how it's very revered and important to us. So I would like to give that directly from the Quran. So inshallah, I'll read to you in the English of what we understand it to mean. And it does have more meaning. It starts off, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, which is with the name Allah, most gracious, most merciful. So whatever is in the heavens and on earth, do declare the praises and the glory of Allah, because it's Allah the Sovereign, the Holy One, the exalted in might, the wise. It is He who has sent among the unlettered a messenger from among themselves to rehearse to them His signs, to purify them, and to instruct them in the book and wisdom, although they had been before in manifest error. Just taking those first two verses in the surah entitled Al-Jummah, or the assembly or the gathering, is to give us the format, the base of why we should do our best in trying to come to learn more about our religion. That request was made by the Creator of all. And that is what is mentioned when it says proclaim. And it goes on to say, along with others of them who have not already joined them, He is the exalted in might, the wise. Such is the bounty of Allah, which He bestows on whom He will. And Allah is the Lord of the highest bounty. The similitude of those who were entrusted with the obligation of Torah, but who subsequently failed in those obligations, is that of a donkey which carries huge tombs, but understand them not. So evil is the similitude of people who falsify the signs of Allah. And Allah guides not people who do wrong. So it says, say, oh you jury, if you think that you are friends to Allah to the exclusion of other men, then express your desire for that if you are truthful. Just given those verses, when we get a level of presentation of Al-Islam in the world, you usually find people that's masked or covered, holding different weaponry, and the casting of them calling out the prayer first, but then holding up guns. That gives the public the wrong impression of what Al-Islam is about. Because in Al-Islam, translated, Islam is the establishing and the establishing of peace. And it's a introduction to how we can obtain that peace. And as we read and study more in the Quran, it will teach us how to achieve that peace. And we are not to exclude others in our quest for peace. Because in the history of Prophet Muhammad, even in the area where he was beginning to establish peace among his own tribe of people, because they didn't understand, they was trying to get rid of him. And so the prophet had to seek asylum in another country, under another government, which happened to be ruled by Christians. And so as we understand that history, we should learn to appreciate all that it entails. How Allah shows us in His signs, if we pay close attention, how history has a way of coming back and repeating itself if the characteristics of the past and those signs wasn't enough to wake us up, then somehow we are forced to repeat some of the same errors. And in another simple language, don't be so holier than thou to the exclusion of others, because it says, if you're that holy, why don't you wish for that? Just think about that. It says, but never will they express their desire for that because of the deeds their hands have sent on before them. And it's Allah who knows well those that do wrong. Just to reflect on each one of those verses, it'll help condition us to understand that it's the mercy of Allah that all human beings crave for, even animals. You know, in nature, when the frost, you see animals seeking shelter, the mercy, and they're glad to have a cave or the leaves of trees, just like human beings. When it get extremely hot, we look for shade. We look for things that we learn later on in the meaning of Ramadan, that which protects us from those fiery desires that gets us in trouble. We look for the shelter, the coolness of the shade, the balance in our understanding about how properly to carry into practice what we are learning. So, in this quest and request for us to learn more about the significance and the importance of Jummah, just listen, it's only a few more verses. It says, so never will they express for that. And Allah knows well those that do wrong. Say the death from which you flee will truly overtake you. Then will you be sent back to the knower of things, secret and open. He will tell you the things that you did. So all you who believe, when the call is proclaimed to prayer on Friday, the day of assembly, hence the Jummah, hasten to it earnestly, to the remembrance of Allah, and leave all business and traffic. That is best for you if you but knew. And when the prayer is finished, then may you disperse through the land and seek of the bounty of Allah, and remember Allah frequently, that you may prosper. But when they see some bargain or some pastime, they dispense headlong to it and leave you standing. Say, that which is with Allah has, and what Allah has is better than any pastime or bargain. And Allah is the best to provide for all needs. Allah speaks the truth. And that concludes our first part. And I will ask you, and myself included, to reflect on what it says in the Quran. And the way we reflect best is to ask Allah's mercy to open up our mind, heart, and spirit to the truth that He wants us to get from that surah. So brothers and sisters, as I came before you for the first part, we ended, and I'll greet you, As-salamu alaykum. Once again, I greet you, As-salamu alaykum. And in concluding with the second portion, I first want to tell you what you all been waiting for is for the opportunity for us to join in person again in the Jummah services on Friday. We plan to open up, I think it's April the 2nd for in person, and we want to just go over a few of the safety measures that will help us. First and foremost, is to thank Allah and ask Allah's protection, because He's our best protector. No matter what we get, and we just read it, where it says, if you try to escape death, you can. If it's for you, it's gonna come. But it doesn't leave out the thought of us being intelligent enough to follow the signs of Allah. And we're living in the signs of Allah today. And it is given in information so that we keep some basic social distances and cleanliness, as well as mask wearing, and to kind of limit the amount of population in a given time. So, in order to fulfill some of those guidelines, we ask for those of you who prefer to bring your own prayer rug. When we do meet again, you could do that. And we'll have little distance tape or something in the area that we set to say our prayer, so that those that have to use chairs can use chairs. Because we remember in the Quran it says, Allah don't want us to go through difficulty, He wants the best for us. So we'll try to model our experience and behavior in that accord. At the same time, trying to show or demonstrate that we'll follow guidelines that is for public safety. And especially since this is a public address to all humanity. So the claim is for all of us to try to remember Allah, learn as much as we can, and to come and offer good ideas when you can, and to help one another. Because we are given a certain length of time on this earth. But we're also reminded, whatever time we're given, Allah knows everything that we have done, whether we keep it secret or is made manifest in the open. And I just want to say, I know myself too, we're anxious to open up. We just want to do it safely. And we pray that Allah keep us in the right spirit and mind, and that once we start and we have better control over these different illnesses and things that seem to plague, for right now, the world. And we pray that Allah's mercy be upon this whole community, because in that it's a safeguard for us. So brothers and sisters, let us all in our prayer and our dua ask Allah's mercy and forgiveness of our sin and the forgiveness of others. As I came before you, I end with that in saying, As-salamu alaykum.